Well, good morning, everybody. We are in the Coconino National Forest. We're on a fire road trail, kind of running around. Got the San Francisco peaks, look at the cool clouds and all that. Yeah, so trying to run this morning, and I didn't stretch before I started this, so at 0.6 of a mile I'm all tight and feeling it, and really just talk about how physical fitness is so much more than just your body physically, right? The muscles, joints, all of that. The aspect that is mental, right? I guess in a way, I didn't really want to do this today, and that's why I didn't stretch. So I'm paying for it now, because I'll tell you, it matters. So why might not have I felt, or why did I feel like I didn't really want to do this today? I don't think I slept really well. Well, I know it took me a long time to fall asleep last night, because I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm trying to learn new things, when I think about stuff, I'm very analytical, and it's hard to shut my brain off. And I did. I turned all the screens off. I did a word search, circle a word book, a couple of those puzzles, just to wind down. Kind of some of those sleep hygiene things that they talk about, and it still took me a long time to fall asleep. Thoughts aren't negative. Thoughts aren't earth-shattering, oh, my life is in ruins, anything. I mean, trying to learn about solar, electricity, and charge controllers, inverters, 4-aught versus 4 AWG wiring, right? It's just all this stuff that who knew electricians were had to be so cerebral in how amps and volts and systems need to have enough watts and deliver enough watts. And this size wire can't handle a flow of X number of watts, right? Because I'm trying to do the solar system on our trailer. So it's kind of well, I don't want to burn my house down, folks, because my trailer is what I live in. So I don't want to end up homeless or sleeping in my truck. So, I need to do this right. And to do it right, I need to know what I don't know. And then you read one thing, and one person says this, and you read another thing, somebody else said something different. It's who do you believe? Same thing with newscasts, right? And where you get your news, be it political or world news type things. Not so much sports, right? They play the game and the Bruins lost. They scored less goals. Doesn't matter. There's no skew on that. There's no kind of opinion or take. But anyways, electricity is kind of like the sports. It is what it is. You just got to know, learn it, understand it, and then do the right things. and pay the cost for the appropriate wire, and don't take shortcuts, right? So that's mainly what kept me up last night. Literally, I'm trying to think about, well, okay, do I need this wire? Do I need that wire? How do I do this? And being that I'm a CPA and accountant, I mean, I can do math, but, sometimes it comes to turning wrenches, and that there is something to be said for people who can think high logic, but can't actually do. And then there's some people that can do all day long, but for them, it's like, I don't know how it works or why it works, but that's what you do. And it's like, okay, cool. Because we need all types, right? And everybody has value. So anyways, I am running here this morning on the trail. It rained last night, so it's pretty muddy and somewhat washed out. So forgive me. I'm looking down to watch where my steps go, so I don't twist an ankle and fall out, right? So anyways, just thought I'd say, despite what's going on in your life, know that physical fitness and exercise, really getting out and moving, is so good. Because, I could have spent the entire day shut up in the trailer, and I'm by myself because my spouse is out of town right now. So I could have done nothing and been lazy, but there's so much to do, and this day is a gift, right? So every day is, let us rejoice and be glad in it. And really, it's just about being disciplined and committed, right? Because I'm not motivated to do this. I'm not mentally in a space where I want to do this. But we're at 1.4 miles. Right, so we've ran 0.8 of a mile in the 8 minutes that I've been with you, talking to you. And, it's just, sometimes things need to be done. And getting out in nature, going for a run. Sure, but knees are bad. You're carrying a little extra weight. Get out and walk. Don't run. Get out and walk. Get up. Do what you can. There's Tai Chi exercises that help joints. Do build some muscle. There's different exercises you can do on the chairs. You can stretch. Just get out and do something, because you're gonna feel mentally even a lot better than you would otherwise. So we're at 1.5 miles. So we're gonna turn around and head back. And if I make it, this will be 3 miles, which I did yesterday. And I'll just say, for those watching, I'm not from Arizona, which is where I am right now. I am from Boston. Go Sox, go Pats, go Bruins, go Celtics, go Revolution. That's right. Yep. But I've never lived at the elevation that Flagstaff and northern Arizona is at, like the Navajo Reservation and such. So I've been here about three months now. So my breathing and capability physically has been limited because I can't catch my breath. Well, I couldn't. Now, obviously, I've run a mile talking to you this whole time. I am breathing heavy, yes, but it is a matter of, well, when I first got here, I was throwing up and I couldn't run a mile because I just couldn't get enough oxygen. My system wasn't prepared for what this takes. So, better, getting better, improving every day. I'm pushing it. So just be aware of your own elements, right? Be reasonable with your expectations. So, but with all of that understanding, get out there and do something. Your body will thank you. Your mental health will thank you. And, you know, you'll have a better day because you'll be ready to conquer whatever comes. And again, motivation is not critical here. Determination, tenacity, commitment, that is what sustains and drives those people that you see that are in great physical shape. And yes, genetics plays a part, so don't let anybody fool you. Age and genetics are a factor, so I don't look at the 20-year-olds and go, oh, I'm horrible because I can't look like them. No, I'm 51. I'm 160 pounds, well, 167. I'm 5'10". I have roughly 20+% body fat. So I'm kind of like that skinny fat, and I've always been that. But if I don't do this, right, I'm over 50. So if I don't do anything, I automatically lose muscle mass. And I'm just going to be sitting on my butt at work and getting fat and unhealthy. Really getting unhealthy. But if I come out here and I do this and I go to the gym and I hit the weights 3 days a week and I run 3 days a week, maybe I'm able to keep what I've got, or at least lose muscle mass slower. And who knows, maybe I might even gain some muscle mass. Not banking on that part. But hey, if I can trim off some of the scale weight or convert it from fat to muscle so that it proportions better, so that it's more healthy for my body to carry, and that, then, I mean, that's what you need to do. Or that's what I need to do for me. Otherwise, I don't know. I guess I'm not a good, nice person because mentally, life is hard, right? You think about our country and Americans basically shooting other Americans. They're sending red state National Guards to blue states. I mean, I'll say it. Sounds like a civil war. And God, I hope we don't go there. I get if you love Jesus and you're Catholic or you're Protestant. I get if you want to set in your home for you, for your children, Christian values. That's fine. Do that. Praise God. But understand this is America. And America does not have a national religion. America is a land free from religion. And that means the woman across the street that lives by herself, J.D. Vance's cat ladies, well, they have the right to live that life. And if they want an abortion, that's their right. They don't have your religious morals telling them it's wrong. So get out of the way and let America be free, because that's what this is. Land of the free. And if you're imposing a religious morality on somebody universally, on everybody, when they don't themselves believe that, that's not a free country. So, yeah, for me, for my mental health, I need to be out here doing this because I look at the world around me and I see transgender people being mocked, ridiculed, hated, disrespected. I mean, what happened to God created all life and that you should respect and love God's creation? I don't see much love from these so-called quote unquote Christians. Jesus knows that the world around us is not his. He knows that the laws of the lands of this world will not represent or reflect him. That's why he said, give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and give unto God that which is God's. So give your life, your heart, your actions to God. But you cannot require that from other people that don't, A, believe the same way you do, or believe something actually completely different. So, I mean, I want a world, not a world, I want America to be guided by the Constitution. And I want America to respect all lives, to give liberty to all lives, and to give all a pursuit of happiness that they deem fit for their lives. So, that means you might not agree with the way someone lives their life. That's fine. You don't have to. They are free. They can do it. As long as they don't murder someone. As long as they don't violate a child, which is amazing because these white supremacist, Christian nationalist, MAGA bullshitters are so into protect the children. We gotta squash transgenders. We gotta push out immigrants. More children died in the last 6 months because of a gun than any transgender person. And if you think a transgender person winning a swim meet causes harm, you need to check your definition of harm. Put on a uniform, go to war, you'll see harm. You are not witnessing that here. Well, you are now with ICE and the way it's acting under this administration. But, that's off in Chicago. And you're in Brentwood, Tennessee, or you're in Greenfield, Massachusetts. So those things are far from you. You're not seeing it. But I'll tell you, it's happening. Open your eyes. Anyways, I just pray. I pray to God for America. I pray for the people that supposedly claim love of God and love of Jesus to actually open their Bible and read what it says. Because Jesus says, the non-believer, he doesn't use that word, but telling Christians about the non-believer, they'll know that you're his, that you belong to him by the love you show. And attacking a group of people who are marginalized, trying to hurt them, ridicule them, like do so much mental health damage, making them hate themselves. I don't see that as loving. So I'm going to love you enough to challenge you. If you're a Christian and you believe in God and Jesus, ask yourself, how is it that man and woman can be made in God's image? Because if a woman is nurturing and loving and subservient and just wonderful human beings, by the way, if they can be that, then that is what your God is. And yes, God is wrathful. Yes, God is loving, and God is merciful. Arthur Pink's Characteristics of God, go back 60s, 70s, read them all. Talks about all these characteristics and aspects of our God. But God has that dichotomy of being loving, of being love, period, and wrath. So Satan is not the prince of hell. He's not in control of hell. God is in control of hell. God created hell. God sends us there. And God is the one who doles out eternal punishment and destruction. So wake up and realize that if you go to hell and I go to hell, and everybody that's ever walked the earth except for Jesus and let's say Adolf Hitler, if every one of us go to hell and only those two go to heaven, is God just? Is God righteous? Is God holy? You know what? He is. Because there is no righteousness in you or in me or in any human except Jesus. He walked this earth in full obedience of the law, and he earned self-righteousness. And that is his gift by grace to give to whomever he chooses, be it on a wide scale or a very narrow one or two people scale. That is the reality of God, the all-powerful, the sovereign, the omnipotent, the omniscient, and the omnipresent. So, check your Bible. Look in to how your American experience of Christianity is so not Christianity. And trust me, as a former Catholic, I would have told you that the Pope is nowhere near Christian. But in today's world, he's actually acting more Christian than most Christians in America that I know. So, love your neighbor. Respect them. if for no other reason than they are a life God created and God set in place. And if you believe Jeremiah and you claim that God knows and has a plan for you, then you have to know and accept that God has a plan for every life he's created. So either Jeremiah is just for Jeremiah, or Jeremiah, if it's going to be applied to every life, to every life in existence that was created, then that holds true for any transgender, any gay person, lesbian person, black, brown, olive, white, red hair gingers, tall, dark, and handsomes, right? Big knockers, little knockers, tight butts, loose butts, big old butts. I hope you're picking up love, respect, and an honest attempt to acknowledge that God and America are not correlated. That if you read Revelation, there's no America when the earth is destroyed and the new heavens comes and the new Jerusalem is brought down. You know what? I didn't hear anything about America. I didn't hear anything about Russia. I didn't hear anything about France or any other country. So to sit here in some fashion and think in some way that God or that America is somehow godly and somehow like everlasting, like Israel, like Jerusalem will be, or at least is described in the Bible as being, I think you're just false. I think you've been duped and you haven't read your Bible and sought the Holy Spirit and sought God to reflect and show you the truth of his word. Because Donald Trump is right in one way. These arbitrary lines that we've drawn on a piece of paper that reflect the shape of the land masses, those don't matter. They matter today because we all have to have national pride, right? Oh, I'm from Boston. That's, go Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Doesn't the Bible say that pride cometh before the fall, right? So we shouldn't have pride. And I wore the uniform of the United States Coast Guard. It's the greatest job, greatest active service I've ever been a part of. Because one of the primary missions of the Coast Guard is search and rescue, safety of life at sea, SOLAS. And that matters to me. That's one of the principal reasons I enlisted, was because every other one of the armed forces, all under the DOD, and the Coast Guard is not. Coast Guard has been historically under the Department of Treasury in its foundings in 1790. It has been a part of the Department of Transportation because of its work in licensing ship captains and first mates and maritime law. So we've been a part of that. And of course now after 9/11, we moved into the Homeland Security, but it should be something you would note that the Coast Guard has served this country in every combat situation it has faced since 1790. It is the oldest continuous seagoing service. So the Navy was founded before us, but the Navy was disbanded after the new country was formed. The Revenue Cutter Service, which is now today the Coast Guard, which is why we call our white-hulled, black-hulled, big behemoth things and the red hulls up there breaking ice. That's why we call our ships cutters, is because that's in honor of the Revenue Cutter Service, which is where we have our beginnings. So I wore that uniform. I have a lot of pride in that uniform and in the mission, the 5-tool mission that is what the U.S. Coast Guard does. Safety of life at sea, so search and rescue, enforcement of laws and treaties, so drug runners, migrants, migrant interdiction, marine safety, to include the licensing as well as the environmental side of things, and national defense. So, yes, I understand pride. Yes, we all have that in us. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the life of another human being, like, oh, Yankees fans, horrible, horrible. Oh, ah. But you know what? Hey, they're human beings. And while it's fun to banter back and forth and it's fun to give each other crap, at the end of the day, I don't wish them harm. At the end of the day, yes, I want Boston, the Red Sox to win, and I want the Yankees to lose. But at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to die. I never wished for Derek Jeter to break his leg in 18,000 spots and never play again. I mean, and the guy was a killer. But, hey, all the power to him. He was a good ball player. He's a human being. Maybe I wish he had worn a Red Sox uniform. I don't know. No offense, Noma. I loved you too. So, just know that you're my guy. But the point is, Republican or Democrat, socialist, communist, libertarian, black, white, Asian, I don't care. You're a human being at the end of the day, and you are God's creation, and that matters to me. So while I may disagree with you, and mind you, I am not a highly progressive individual. I'm a CPA, so fiscally, from a budgetary standpoint, I believe in fiscal conservatism. You don't spend more than you make. You don't mortgage your futures. You don't. I hate seeing that my great nieces, which are my nephew's daughters, I hate the fact that they're going to have to cover my retirement. And that's not fair. We are writing checks that, and I don't have any kids of my own. We are writing checks that my great niece, her kids are going to be cashing, to be paying for. And I hate that. Hate it. And I do somewhat follow Adam Smith's, and that old time thought of, look, the federal government has 3 purposes: national defense, or protection of sovereignty, which is a form of national defense, interstate commerce, and regulating to make sure that we are around the world and within each state's, competitive, and, maintaining the roadways and things like that. But, I see people hurting, and somehow I do think there has to be a way that we can be better. And I wonder if it's not time for a Bernie Sanders. And I think about Christ, and I think about him saying, when I was hungry, you fed me, and when I was naked, you clothed me, and when I was cold, you gave me warmth. When I think about that, I kind of think, well, if I push back on people having a roof over their head, if I push back on feeding kids, if I push back on stuff like that, am I really Christian? And I get, yes, the Bible says that man shall not work, he shall not eat, right? I get that. I get that. But I think a blanket application of that is damaging. Think about yourself. If you're a guy, think about the worst possible thing happening and you becoming disabled. Now you can't work. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, boy, and go out there and make money. You can't. You're disabled. Are you going to kill yourself because you're failing? You can't bring in money to take care of your wife and your kids, that you are somehow less of a man because of this medical issue that you had no control over, that is no one else's fault, that is just genetics in you? I mean, should we not have a system that says, well, we're not going to let your wife and your kids not have a roof over their head, not have food, not be able to wear clothes? So, like, I'm wondering if anyone out there sits and thinks about things like I do. Am I alone? Because I am a Gen Xer. I am 51 years old. I was born in 1974. So I get it. There's going to be millennials that think I'm off my rocker. There's going to be boomers that, oh, he's a kid, he doesn't know shit, you know. But seriously, are we so lost and so, like, out there that we can't see the right thing to do by others? Yeah, I don't know. I know I don't have all the answers. I know that. One. Two, I know I'm an independent thinker. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts school system kind of created a critical thinker in me, and I'm not brainwashed. So I can see both sides. Well, in fact, like debate club, or at Burncoat Senior High School, it was the Model Congress Club, you know, where we drafted legislation, and we met with other schools as senators and representatives, and we debated the topics. And like, my buddy wrote a bill about fathers' rights, so a father being able to step in and prevent a woman from having an abortion. And I argued for that. I argued from the standpoint of, well, if I accidentally got a girl pregnant, or not accidentally, but if I got a girl pregnant, I wanted the kid. I honestly believed, even at 17, 16, that I was ready to be a dad. And she doesn't want the child. That's fine. Just carry it for me and go away, and I'll never ask you for a dime. But let me raise that kid. Let me raise my son or my daughter, because, you know, that was in me to do. So, you know, it kind of tells you where I've been in my life and kind of the way I've thought. But that model Congress club actually taught me how to review issues and how to see the different perspectives. And then when I was in grad school, I took a negotiation class at the Jack C. Massey Graduate School of Business at Belmont University, and it was a class on negotiations, and we read a Harvard book, Getting to Yes. And that book is all about sitting down at a table and getting the biggest piece of the pie. And one of the interesting points of that book was, make the pie bigger. Yeah. Hey, you want 50% of 100? Make it 200 and get 125, because, you're getting more. And that's always the way Congress used to work. Your representatives and your senators, they used to sit down at the table and they used to say, well, we have millions of Americans that don't have health insurance and we need to cover them. And then the Republicans go, well, no, we can't afford that. You don't, but we need better tanks and we need new this. And they used to sit down and they used to come to a compromise, right? They used to say, well, okay, we'll do this Medicaid thing and we'll let states run it. And yeah, okay, and then we'll throw in an extra $2 billion for the Department of Defense to go ahead and get some new tanks or new planes or whatever. And they used to work together. Occasionally there was a shutdown because one side thought they were stronger position than they should have, which is where we are right now. That's why calling the IRS right now is almost worthless. It's going to take you the whole day. And yes, I'm a CPA, so I do that quite often. But I don't know where that has gone. Because I want to say that in my lifetime, there has always been Democrats. There have always been Republicans. There have always been the Green Party and the Libertarian Party. I haven't heard much of the Communist Party. Like I've never seen that side of the circuit, really. Sure, there's some like socialist stuff out there, and but all of these mindsets and all of these groups have existed my entire life. And somehow, for the 50 years I've been alive, there's never been a National Guard troop from another state entering the city of another state. I do think if we had to go to the Constitution, I do think we would find that unconstitutional. I did see a video online of a priest getting hit with a smoke pellet in the head. I don't know if that's a real priest. Could have been a guy in a costume. It is October. But if it is a real priest, I'd like to meet that ICE agent that shot him. I really would like to meet you, because you think you're a badass. But last I knew, any Christian should be up in arms if you shoot at a pastor or a priest, because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing what the Bible tells them to do, which is stand up for human beings, to stand up for the basic rights of a human being. So yeah, I'd like to meet you, because I'd like to see how much of a man you really are. And that's not a very godly take, and I get that, and I understand that. And the guy could probably kick my ass, because I'm not a badass. really, I'm not. I'm much more a lover than a fighter. However, when I do see wrong, and I do see atrocities against human beings, it does boil my blood, and it does bring about in me a facet that reminds me truly of my need for Christ and for God's forgiveness and for love, because Jesus says if a man hits you in one cheek, you're supposed to turn and offer him the other. And what I just discussed, what I just displayed, was not that level of humility, not that level of godliness that I would truly like to have in my life. But yeah, maybe you can understand that. Maybe you find yourself in the same situation where, you know, you want to be one thing, but there's things out there that just, you question, like, how did we get here? How did we get here where we are? How is it possible that our own president, for no reason, is activating National Guard troops from other states and sending them across state borders? I thought the Republican Party was for states' rights. I thought the Republican Party was for fiscal conservatism and, you know, a limited federal government, small federal government, right? And states' rights. I could have sworn that's what that party believed for most of my life, which is probably why I found myself voting that way. Because I never cast a vote for Barack Obama, never casted one for Bill Clinton, never casted one for Donald Trump. Sorry, never casted a vote for Hillary Clinton. Think about that. But I did vote in 2016. So think about that, America. Think about that, world. That's right. Little known fact, because most people, most Americans are too dumb and fucking stupid to actually pay attention. But in 2016, they had two governors, the governor of New Mexico, Gary Johnson, and the former governor of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, named Bill Weld. That was a Republican that won a landslide re-election in the most blue state possible, one of the most blue states possible. They were running under the Libertarian in 2016, and they had probably the best platform mix of fiscal conservatism with certain elements of understanding that, yeah, our economy, our environment, those things matter. We need to pay attention to those things. And yeah, so that's who I voted for in 2016. You're darn right. I did not know Hillary Clinton was not. I'm fine if we have a woman as a president. Hillary Clinton was not that woman. And no. We did not need that. We did not need Trump. And we don't need him now either. So, and you know something? Trump's not even really the main. Trump is the main character, but he's not the writer and he's not the author of this shit that we're going through. That's the Heritage Foundation. That's the Stephen Miller character. And I didn't vote for Stephen Miller. So I don't know who the hell he is or why he's been given power. But I could say that about a lot of the people in power right now in certain positions. And I feel like I've said a lot, and I'm really concerned about where we're headed as a country. And I guess what I really don't understand is there are Republicans that have been in service for way too long. Apparently, you know, in my opinion, there should be term limits, but they're like John Thune. I had a lot of respect for him. And when I saw him being elected Senate Majority Leader, I was like, yes, okay. The party hasn't gone to shit. Totally. Because John's reasonable. He comes from a state that has down-home family values, good workers, labor in the state, and they're nice people. But what he's allowing to happen as the majority leader, what happened, like the left-wing media, sure, they pull up all of these interviews and videos and snippets that these Republicans have all done, even J.D. Vance, about Donald Trump and him being the worst thing and him violating this and violating that, and yet they're all fucking kissing the ring. They're all sucking the dick, licking the asshole. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. So I'm going to turn around and look at the DNC and go, what the fuck are you doing? Charles Schumer? Dude, fucking retire. Go home. You are out of touch. You don't have a clue how to get anything done. And I mean, your attempts at being youthful, dude, I'm 51. I don't try to be youthful. I am who I am. That's it. That's what you get. And yes, I'm trying to grow. Yes, I'm trying to understand things in a different way, and I'm trying to look at facts from all angles, and see the issues and see the various positions one could take and the facts that would support something versus another thing. Yeah, I'm doing that, and you should do that. But you need to retire and go home, and you need to turn around and let somebody else that understands today and understands the demographic of these younger voters and really younger people, because you need to go away. Retire. You've been there long enough. You should have plenty of money that you can survive. And, I'm sure there's companies that will out there that will pay you to come speak, and do your rallies or whatever you're trying to do. But Democrats, you need to take a look at your agenda, your platform. I don't know what the hell you want or what the hell you would do. And I think if there's a bunch of independent Americans like myself, what are we voting for? And, I think people are going to stay home because, I don't know what I'm going to do in the next election. I won't vote for Donald Trump. And if he's on the ballot, I think that's I think America is dead at that point. The America our founding fathers intended, the America of the Declaration of Independence, the America of the Constitution is dead in that case. But I don't know that what the Democrats would want to do, or even I know what Donald Trump wants to do, or the Heritage Foundation. I know where they want to go, and that is not America. So I need to fight against that. But I don't know. Well, if you stayed this long, wow, 55 minutes. Thanks for listening to some guy ramble. Maybe you agree, Maybe you disagree. That's okay. It's America. We can have differing opinions and thoughts. And, you know, I think it's healthy. Debate is healthy. Seeing issues and topics and challenges from multiple angles, and having different perspectives adds to the resolution. To, maybe, hey, that we'll get better examples or better answers because we're looking at it from more angles and more perspectives, and we're understanding more. And I think that's a good thing. So thanks for taking the time to listen. I know we started off health-wise, get out there, do it. Even motivation's not it, discipline, do that. And we kind of went somewhere I wasn't expecting, but it seems like something I needed to say. So I'm going to put that out there. You think about it, pray about it, and, hate me, like me. I'm probably going to get more hate from both sides because, like, I'm not far left and I'm not far right. I'm kind of just a guy in the center. And so I'm probably going to get hated from a lot of different angles, but I'm okay with that. So I know what I believe. I know where I stand. And I know that I'm going to resolve for myself every day to take care of myself, to do the right things so that I can be respectful, loving, and honor the other lives, the other human beings that I come in contact with throughout my day. And that is the best I can be today. So thanks. Have a good one. Bye.